Alright, we are back, and I am hoping to have improved the internet enough by doing a little relocation on the router that we will no longer have the streams clipping like the last you have. It seems like even just that last hour-long one dropped into at least 3 different segments. I'm going to kind of say this is a resumption of episode 11 of the saga of the Vrinn Imperium. The Vrinn Imperium are a race of autocratic space dwarves who are also fanatic materialists, efficient and Byzantine bureaucracies, and mechanists. And their form of government is despotic hegemony. They are primarily focused on both building robot props, who currently comprise 29% of the population and are at a droid level of advancement, and Ultra Vrinn, who are cybernetically enhanced Vrinn, and we made that transition and now a bit back in time. They're also intelligent, rapid breeders, and have an enduring lifespan, but have a wasteful trait in terms of the initial balance for the build. We are going to go ahead and take a look at where we stand. We are one of the more powerful empires in the large 1,000-star ring galaxy. It's possible that the Kroll maybe... It feels like the Kroll are currently in a war and getting their butts kicked. So I'm not sure if they're more powerful or not. We have 2 neighbors, one who recently has become our protectorate, who are the Holy Vrinn Covenant, a race of spiritual, theocratic dictators that live to our south and are currently loyal. And the Takaris Databank, who are a hostile but weaker than us machine intelligence that lives to the east. To our west, we have several machine empires, several fallen empires, the Haruni Progenitors and the Yastun Remnant. And we also have the Magar Freebooters, who are a belligerent mercenary empire who have been extorting us for a fair amount of the game, and I believe we are now going to reach the position where we decide that it is time to alter their fate. We most recently moved our military to the southwest, where we had 2 Leviathans, and we dispatched both of those in the course of the last stream. We do have a nanite entity mothership that we obtained by clearing the L cluster after opening an L gate, and we're currently in the process of securing the remaining worlds around that. We forgot to research one. We're going to need to shoot a ship back in there. That's interesting. Thought we had gotten it all. We're going to jump back to the Maw after we're finished surveying Esteron. We've jumped back out of the L gate and sent our science ships out to have a look around and see what else we may discover in some of the unknown portions of the galaxy. We have a significant infrastructure for our research currently and have been building it forward and have essentially been somewhat dominant in that respect. We're turning over research on a very regular basis. Our economy is healthy, and we have access to 5 of the 8 trade resources, and we'll continue to try. Essentially, we're looking at expansion both to our northwest and our southwest to secure our hold on power in those areas and see where we land. We are the Vrinn Imperium, and with that, we're going to unpause it and get back to work. Having a look at Vrinn Prime. It's our supercontinent capital, which is our preference. We just upgraded a small 6 expeditionary fleet that we have been using to clear remnant annoyances as far as hostile alien fleets, and we're going to go clear out these space amoeba. Actually, we're going to upgrade one more time. We have a carrier battleship and an artillery cruiser. That should be enough on their own to dispatch the space amoeba. Taking a look at our empire capital, which is Vrinn Prime, the supercontinent. That is our species preference. We have one unemployed worker, a robot, and in those cases we have been generally dispatching them to some of our newer colonies to both buff the population and buff the workforce. The initial 4 colonies that were established were Vrinn, Wadriax Prime, and Wadriax 1, and with Rilly Prime, Nuggin, Rakis, Theglon, Tavikliat, Rim, and Lochase all have been acquired afterwards, and I believe all were the result of terraforming. I'm going to look at some of our newest colonies. So here on Theglon 3, if we dispatch that robot, we will get them to 10 and allow them to upgrade their ship shelter. So I think that is the best course of action. Looks like it took a specialist job, but that's also fine. And then we're going to initiate the Planetary administration upgrade there. We are out of districts to build and buildings to build on the homeworld. Wadriax 1 has 3 districts remaining and 2 building slots remaining. It also has an upgrade due for the planetary capital when we get 4 more citizens. We have 4 more jobs and 9 more housing. We are producing primarily research at this point, along with consumer goods, unity, and alloys. Our jobs are miner and clerk jobs. We're about to produce another robot. We have a few bonuses on the speed with which our robots produce that have assisted us thus far. Our nearest neighbor does have some fair power locally. We've established a 4th and 2nd expeditionary fleet as part of our border defenses with them, and are going to upgrade both of those to the latest. And we also have star fortresses in both systems, along with at least some defenses. We have 1 defense platform at Trevipe. We're going to push those forward too. We have a megastructure that is recently building, which we had been previously reserving funds for. I just wanted to confirm my memory on that. But otherwise, let's add 4 defense platforms to each of those stations. Otherwise, keep on rolling. Technology secured. The Believa Authority have closed their borders to us. They're located to the north of the Takaris databank, and I believe in all respects compared to us are pathetic. I don't think we're going to trouble ourselves with too much concern on their regard. We built exotic gas refineries. Let's take a look. So we just got the ability to exploit dark matter. Our technology is moving fairly fast at this point. We've been trying to clean up some of the earlier techs to make sure that we see the majority of options in the tech tree. I'm going to do so with self-aware colony ships. We have a few colonies that are terraforming currently to Gaia worlds, and we will want to potentially start another round of colonization thereafter. I'm going to upgrade the existing defensive platforms as well. Well, these are our main fleets, along with the Nanite mothership moving back to Rochelle, which is our local star base. We've been starting to expand into the southwestern region here. We ran into a bit of trouble on Orlegon, where we had a colony established, and that colony cracked open and hatched a void worm that destroyed the colony, and we have just recently dispatched. I'm going to go ahead and make sure if they are not closed already. We'll close our borders in return. Sort of pointless, but looks like the bandwidth dipped there again, but I don't think the stream cut. It's a windy day up on the mountain top at 8650 or so, where we live in a mountain town in Colorado, which always makes internet connectivity a challenge at times, and it's been a little tricky today. We use 5G mobile routers from T-Mobile, which is really the best rural internet that we've been able to find, but it was actually better when it was 4G, and the recent 5G upgrade routers seem a little bit less stable. They're very sensitive. You have to find the exact right spot to place them, and the exact rotation to place them, because they have 4 omnidirectional antennas, and it's just probably more challenging than it should be. Their 4G service was a little plug and play in the past, but technology marches on. You got to assume that hopefully it will improve over time, and that's that. Like, they made a really interesting decision with their 5G routers that the internal network will only run on 12.1, 192.168, 12.1, which just is weird. Like, I think I've been running Wi-Fi routers or DHCP servers or what have you of some type for 25 years at least, and I don't think I've ever run into one that is restricted to a designated IP address range that is not configurable. But I think T-Mobile was worried about the average user, however they depict them or picture them, and not necessarily, I suppose, what I think of as the average technology user, which is either somebody at this point who most of the folks have grown up with it at this point. If you've been born somewhere between the 70s and now, you most likely grew up with technology playing at least a proportion of a role. You shouldn't really be all that taken aback by the concept of internal networks anymore. The New Mystic Order contacts us, and they follow the current of cosmic energy credits Ultra Vrinn, and it will take you to the truth. There is no better product than that which carries the holy seal of Pneuma. The last time they wanted us to sell, I think, one of our people for volatile motes. So let's see what we have with them now. By the guiding hand of Pneuma, we have come across these ancient artifacts which have been very inspiring to our meditations. The thought of parting with them, of course, pains us, but we feel that you, Ultra Vrinn, could learn much by studying them. We are in need of some advanced materials, so perhaps a deal could be made. As always, if you need time to consider, we can notify you before we depart your territory, giving you one more chance to accept the goddess's generous offer. So, 300 alloys for 5. We already have 271 minor artifacts. Yeah, get. Their deals so far have not been impressive. There was just about nothing about it. Bad idea. No, thank you. So we got another month, and then we can start acquiring additional
star system charted.
So that was right on time. We have an anomaly to research there. So we get an incoming transmission from the Racket Industrial Enterprise. It is not a relic, it is an antique. Just think, it survived this many centuries already, built to last. What can you offer us? You've noticed that your mining station in orbit of Yelbaris extracts energy, does it not? We can assist. We can grant you a satellite, one fitted with a clever technology. We call it the Racket Energy Extractor. It will remain in orbit and increase the amount of energy credits you can obtain from Yelbaris's surface. Give us 15 exotic gases and we will deploy this satellite. 15 exotic gases for a 5 energy modifier. We'll take it. A pleasure, a joy to deal with the Vrinn Imperium. We will visit again. Nice. We're going to take this guy and jump back through this L gate. And then we're going to go and survey this oddball system that we missed in the initial surveys. At the end of the month, we are also going to, I think, develop a job. It should have just happened. It did. So the autocracy of Clumbastion, who are a fairly large neighbor, has declared war on the Hasukar League, who are friendly to us, but we don't have any type of defensive pacts in place currently. But they are friendly, and we share a wormhole, the Haram, which we also have fortified with a star fortress, so we can potentially defend ourselves if things go badly. We also have another robot. I get the feeling the way that this is going is that as we spawn more Ultra Vrinn, we are bit by bit pushing out our robots, which is, I suppose, fine. We'll go for genetic purity. But we have another Ultra Vrinn unemployed. The last we did was send them over to Theglon. We know there's some free worker slots there. We're going to do so, and we end up with a new miner there, which is excellent news. Progress marches on. Alright, Rim Prime, it only has one available job. We are not yet producing civilian goods. We are at a fair overrun of civilian goods right now. It might be interesting to start standing up some additional research on our newest colonies. That's what we're going to go with. We're going to start doing some research. Low Chase is not yet producing alloys, which we want everyone in our happy little empire to be able to do so. With really, it's producing just about everything we need. Their needs are mostly also fulfilled. We're going to add a Ministry of Production. Alright, our fleets have gotten back to Rochelle. We're going to upgrade our primary fleet. And our southern border fleet. And we're going to do minor upgrades on our eastern border fleet. And our mothership is currently healing. It is a fairly monstrous ship.
Vessels upgraded.
So, in the course of clearing those Leviathans, we did get these events. We have one further Leviathan to also dispatch, the psionic entity in Fenjartis, which is a system that's only accessible through the wormhole in Kildatha. And I think we're going to want to ensure that we deal with that here in the near future. We lost a few cruisers and destroyers and corvettes over the course of that fight, so it's also possible that we may
Special project complete.
want to buff up a bit before we go back. So a closer analysis of the egg shards has allowed us to develop a technology that will reproduce some of the Void Spawn's eggs, remarkable energy retaining qualities in our own solar plants. We get the research option for gargantuan evolution and technology progress of 30% towards the same. We're also going to have them go research the project in Selnock, which is the project for the other Leviathan. They were a solar devourer, which we just
Technology secured. Vessels upgraded.
cleared. So we got repairs, upgrades across the board. We found our next technology. And pick up the planetary shield generator. It feels like, unless we're just all powerful for the for the AI to contend with. I feel like there's likely some level of combat in our future. We have really good mineral production. We're running at a large deficit here, though. We don't have any more planetary features to clear. I think what we're going to do is open up a city district so we can get another building slot. We're going to do the same. We're basically faced with the same conditions. We're going to add that same city district to Nuggin Prime. Viviclia Prime is still growing. It is also got a nice mineral bonus from our work there. We'll go ahead and add another mining district onto them to specialize that planet to the degree that we can. Building Starbase in Ajam. I think what we want to do is, once the mothership and the first expeditionary fleet have completed upgrades, leave that be for now. Some reason, with the number of anomalies that happen, they're the one piece that don't feel all that necessary to read.
Construction complete.
Although I find, even though just for my own purposes, that reading these tends to tell myself more of a story, which is part of why I do it. So we repaired the first expeditionary fleet. It is now upgrading. I think what we're going to do is we're going to move back to Aurelion, and that shattered world has a nice bump in society research that would be worthwhile to potentially get under our control. We're going to bump our energy nexus on Thegalan.
Vessels upgraded.
Since the gray is repaired, we're going to send that to Wiu. And in Wiu, we're going to start to add a few additional ships. We're going to add some broadside cruisers.
Vessels upgraded.
At an archaeological event, we're evaluating several archaeological sites, including one at Untitled Prime, which was a precursor system that we had captured at the end of an event chain that also has the ruined precursor shipyards that we are currently underway with repairing. We finally breached one of the locked doors. It looks like this is a rather large complex, part of the ruins above perhaps. Our expedition team is splitting up into groups of 2 in order to explore more efficiently the chambers of this complex. Who knows what they'll find or what will find them. I have quite a while left on the repairs of that precursor shipyard.
Vessels upgraded.
So the 6th expeditionary fleet is fully upgraded. We're going to send it out to Jamor to get rid of that space amoeba. We've unlocked armored torpedoes.
Upgraded.
Unlock habitats because that's only going to take 2 months. I think the overall goal will be to clear out the Magar freebooters, since they have been fairly belligerent and threatening, that their just due is around the corner.
Star system charted. Technology secured.
I'm going to go back through, research this project. Bumping our naval capacity because we're starting to press up against it, which gives us a bit more space to play with. I like the idea of more efficient capital buildings. The 20% bump in mining capacity is also seems viable as a next step. Both of those technologies should finish rather quickly at the pace that our technology is moving at. We now are researching the Stellar Devourer's corpse. So study of the Stellar Devourer's shining remains have left our scientists perplexed and amazed. The star-feasting being is itself a miniature fusion furnace, harvesting solar matter to synthesize an energy source of its own. Since the body it still contains significant amounts of solar matter from the star of the Selnock system, the one it last fed from, it could be possible to extract the energy and reinvigorate the star. Harvesting the corpse's heat for our own ends could satisfy our energy needs in the short term, but would doom the system to an eternal ice age. We have more than enough energy. The influence wouldn't be a bad little bump to take, but I think that reigniting the... Let's take a look at the system. There really wasn't anything all that interesting here. Just Molten Worlds. There had been previously there was a wormhole here. Not sure we really need the resources. We'll eventually gain the energy, so let's just see what happens if we reignite the star. Alright.
Vessels upgraded.
So, our first and primary fleet is still upgrading in Rochelle. The mothership is already moving back. It
Construction complete.
good but faster than anything that we have access to. So our construction ship has finished in Hunham-Tur. That's the wormhole that I was thinking about, that I'd like to research. We're going to move to Selnock and assume that this event should give us a better system that we may want to take advantage of in the future. I'm going to leave anomalies alone until we finish surveying the systems. Planetary shield generators are done. We can go for advanced barriers, which I think we're going to continue that chain with. We should be underway upgrading now. We also... Interesting. Though it rightfully belongs to us, the Dracaris databank has audaciously laid claim to the Etravipe system. Nuggin Prime has now finished its city district and has an available building slot. We don't have any research going on these planets, so we're going to start to add it now that we have taken care of most of our basic needs. which is also going to mean that we'll want to send some research ships to those systems to support that research. So Etravippe is fairly well defended, but we're going to go ahead. I think their current is 2 artillery battleships and a Hangar-class cruiser. I'm going to go ahead and add a carrier to the mix to just see if the machine intelligence interested in...
Special project complete.
So the project with the Stellar Devourer has paid off, but at a cost. Submerging the Stellar Devourer's remains into Selnok's star has caused the solar furnace to shine a bit brighter, but to also spew out solar flares that engulf the ISS Esplar and its crew in a roaring inferno. There were no survivors. The planets in the systems are heating up, reaching temperature levels closer to their original form. We lose... it's no good. We lose our science ship and scientist, and Selnok 3 becomes a tundra planet. Well, you know, that could have worked out better. We're going to need to get another science ship down there. The closest ones are excavating archaeological sites. I believe we have a spare scientist that we gained off of an event. We're going to go ahead and in Rochelle, after these upgrades are completed, add a science ship and continue our research of this area.
Technology secured.
Not sure I wanted to trade a scientist for a individual tundra planet. So we currently only have 1 nanite worth of production. That could be interesting to take advantage of it, but its production is not all that impressive. We already have decent income of both exotic gases, volatile motes, and the rare crystals. I think we're going to start looking at habitats and how we might want to take advantage of those. We have another unemployed robot. Going to take a quick look at the populations of our smaller worlds. Low Chase could most likely support it and use it. In theory, it's probably going to become a metallurgist. I have trouble with that one. I'm going to send it out to Low Chase. I did not get it right. It made it a colonist. Alright, continuing to research the systems. We should also be researching outside the Elgate in Lazan. We still have a fair bit to research there. Let's see these incoming transmissions. The Terracaris database is now guaranteeing the independence of the Kroll Quarteri, and the Kroll Quarteri has entered into a non-aggression pact with the Terracaris databank. %34 upgraded on the first expeditionary fleet. Our 6th fleet is moving out to remove those space amoebas. We have the 4th in Etravippe, and the 5th is the beginnings of where we're going to ship our first to join up with. Non-aggression pact was broken between the Terracaris database and the Kroll Commerce Guild. Crow Coterie has made a peace offer. And it looks like it gave up some systems. Didn't go very well for them. And the Dakaris database and the Krull Commerce Guild have broke off their peace agreement. We got our upgraded capital buildings. I'm going to look at being able to bump some of our commerce buildings, since we have a few spread throughout the colonies. Instead of expansion, we're just going to make sure we have everything upgraded as well. Following a long period of growing support for the non-interventionist organization, the Krull Commerce Guild has finally embraced the faction, adopting their core values and policies. As a result of bringing this faction into their government, they have become more outwardly xenophobic. And that is the Krull Commerce Guild. And previously were the Krull Bandit Kingdoms, but I think that is the adoption of the Tychon Tradian Consortium's governing ethics.
Special project complete.
Golanthas are large, flat herbivores that have evolved internal gas pockets, enabling them to hover a few centimeters above the ground. They move about in herds consisting of a few dozen animals, grazing on the moss and lichen that can be found on the windswept plains of Candarius 1. They are ruthlessly hunted by the planet's apex predators, and our biologists on the ISS Banplar estimate that only a few hundred Golantha herds remain. One of these, consisting of 9 animals, has been successfully collected and will be brought back to the Vrinn. I don't think we are overall tracking. We recently got alien specimen procurement. Let's see what we have to see in Afris. So where are some of those? Can I just set them all to track? There we go. Okay. We should be able to assume our next system. We're going to jump through the L gate. We're going to build research and mining stations. And we're also going to build an outpost in Aria. Half upgraded on the first expeditionary fleet. And Wayu, we're going to add, let's see, we lost a couple cruisers fighting the Leviathans. We have 2 carriers, an artillery and a broadside battleship, a couple artillery cruisers, 3 broadside cruisers, and we just built another. We have a hangar cruiser and a missile cruiser. We're going to add one of each of those. So we're going to add another missile cruiser. So we've just built research labs in Nuggin. We're going to upgrade those. But we really could use a science ship in support of that effort. So we're going to kick one out of Vrinn Prime. Or we could actually just build one in Nuggin.
Construction complete.
We're also going to add an additional defense platform to each of our border fortresses.
Technology secured. Star system charted.
Alright, so we have achieved the options for commerce, megaplexers, and the hyperlane register that will assist friendly ships with FTL travel in the system by identifying ideal conditions for hyperlane entry and optimizing projected travel routes. And the commerce megaplexes should be an upgrade to... I think I wiped out a lot of our commerce, but it might be worthwhile to look at building again. Let's take a look at news research. Gargantuan evolution, void spawn eggs have evolved to withstand the harsh conditions of space by absorbing and conserving energy from the nearest star. I'm going to go ahead and take this and we'll get a 5% energy bump. Our 6th expeditionary fleet is on its way to meet up with these
technology secured
space amoeba. Our precursor expedition on Gruner Prime, most of the adjacent chambers are empty, long ago abandoned by their original creators, all except one. It appears a central large computer is still there. The broken down machines bear the designation HUB and has been offline for thousands of years. It is believed this was the central unit, a mind capable of running the entire complex autonomously. Not much data was recoverable, but we definitely did not leave empty-handed. And that is the end of the excavation, the second in that system. And we gain a nice bump of unity, research across the board, minor artifacts, and we find the Codex Administarium. And we gain the research option, diplomatic appeasement techniques. Excellent. That's going to free up that science ship, which we needed one in that general region to go over and finish taking a look at what we have in Selnock. We get Cassius Belli from the Takaris Databank and the Heskerar League for claiming the Codex. Let's see what the Codex is. So the Codex Administarium we can activate for 150 influence. It gives us negative 25% Empire Sprawl from districts and planets. And for a 10-year period, we already get the Empire passively, that's nice. And its active effects is a negative 75% Empire Sprawl for 10 years. We are pretty good at that piece of it, so let's see. Passive effects on our last Baal relic. And unlocking the decision, granting the ability to turn one non-hive into a Gaia world for 150 influence. Finish off. Let's see. The archaeological site is finished. Lausanne has been surveyed. Nothing of great interest has come out of it. We're going to jump back to the Devil's Maw. The Kroll Commerce Guild has now opened their borders to us, I assume in some interest of establishing trade. The Heskeride League and the Takaris Databank are now rivals. We can choose an engineering research. I'm going to pull in that quick daily hull regen. It should be very quick to access. And our two ships are headed to meet the space amoebas.
Technology secured.
Now have planetary shield barriers. You know, the dangerous technology of jump drives, but they sound highly useful. I'm gonna go for jump drives. Just the two mothers are left. We gain our energy credit bump. Take a reduction in border friction for 2 months of research. Maxed out minerals again. We're going to sell off 10,000. We picked up that daily hull regen rather quickly. It's really not much of a need to manufacture crystals. Our production is very high already. I'm going to go for impulse thrusters because the faster we can move around our fleets, the better.
System charted.
So Jamor has finished. We're going to move them back. I think we need a more forward base than Wii to project from, particularly because I'm planning on taking out the Magar freebooters here in the short term. The first expeditionary fleet has finished upgrading. We're going to move them up to Wii. It's going to take a bit. Open up combat stats. It was fairly much a wipeout. We should have a new science ship in Withrilly, I believe. Or have we not finished it? Nuggin Prime. We're going to assign, get a new leader for that. Young. Assign them, and they are going to... Let's see. They're going to assist research on Nuggin Prime. We also now have research on Rakkus. And we're going to build another science ship in Withrilly to move over to assist them. AI is declaring rivalries and trade agreements back and forth with each other.
Technology secured.
Picked up the reduction in border friction. We're going to go for fleet traditions, hopefully to unlock a few more technologies in that tree.
Communications.
So the Kroll E-Commerce Guild wants to establish a embassy, which I will agree to. We're going to bump our gene clinics for growth. We're going to add, I think we wanted to add at least another hangar cruisers, 101 damage, and Wii. And that will be to add some capacity to our first expeditionary fleet after losing some, taking out the Leviathans. We should have enough to acquire another system. I've been working on securing everything beyond the L gate. We're going to build research stations and mining stations in Aria. Still working on that there. This one is jumping out. We have run into an encounter in Itraben. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Itraben system. For now, we have codenamed them the Gimel aliens until we find out more about them. If they possess a language, we must decipher it in order to establish communications. Oh, and they are interesting. So that was the Holy Vrinn Covenant that ran into them. And they are not friendly. At all. I don't think we do have an available convoy. We're going to send them out to try to discover whom that was. 6 expeditionary fleet is heading back. I think we're going to take the opportunity of having some spare influence to expand into Lodium. I think I butchered that one. So we have a new science ship in Withrili. We're also going to recruit a new young one and assign them.
Technology secured.
And move them to Arrakis to assist research. Resort World. For 100 influence, or you can make it fancy. See what happens. So, let's just take a inventory of what we got going. We built the second science ship. That was intended for the Exile. I'm going to send him. We can either go there. That's going to be quite the trip. We can change out our. I think we're just going to jump there. See how that goes. That gets us back. Oh. One took kind of a long time. So, we'll have to see. Alright. Let's see if there's anything. I'm going to go ahead and clear the active volcano on Wadriax 1. Really, Prime still has some stuff we can also clear. I'm going to start just running up the chain. Quadri X1 also still has some clearable pieces that we're going to go ahead and do so. Nuggin Prime is already clean. Alright, so we have Rackus has research. Theglin 3. We're going to build research somewhat shortly. Dwarves Prime also has research. We're going to build a science ship to assist them. Vrinn Prime also recently acquired research. We can build one in Wii. We'll add one in after this cruiser. Lochase is still growing.
Star system charted.
And Nanite mothership is sort of crazy powerful. I'm going to move her out to Baskarat. Because if these guys threaten me again, I do not predict it going well.
Anomaly found.
We have a first contact event with these hostile vessels. The vessels we encountered in the Itraban system appear to be somewhat outmoded, but nevertheless armed to the teeth. They seem to be piloted by sentient crews, but respond with hostility to any approach. We have to treat them with caution.
Construction complete.
So we finished Afris. We already have researched the event there. We go ahead and research anomalies in both of those systems. We finished an Illume. We're going to move up to Lausanne. Turns out that it wasn't all that impressive in terms of a haul for Beyond the L-Gate, besides that nanite-powered warship, which was impressive. So we've finished surveying here. Let's take a look at what's in Rurius in the Storm World. We jump back through the Devil's Maw. I'm going to send them to finish this research project in Uniged. And that is the ship that's in transit. We just built a ship in Etravipe. We're going to recruit another youngin and send them to Tavikliat Prime to assist research.
Technology secured.
So we have now determined that they are pirates, although we have been unable to establish communications with them, mainly because they are unwilling to communicate with us. We have been able to identify the Gemel aliens as pirates. Visual indicators point to their culture being largely spaceborne, and some phenotypes observed among them match no known planet-dwelling civilizations. Unfortunately, their crews are completely uninterested in civil discourse. What little we have been able to glean from intercepting intrafleet communications indicate that they primarily subsist on piracy, occasionally recruiting fringe elements of spacefaring civilizations to their cause.
The
Deplorable.
power is hailing us.
In Selnock, we have made a remarkable discovery. Sensors are detecting that the core of this world is incredibly hot. Scientist Beshna Tukor also notes that the surface temperatures are higher than what one would expect from such a world as a result of this. Further study would be required to better understand the geological interactions of planetary tectonics with its core. We can either take a terraforming bonus and society research, or we can spend 20 influence and get a project. I'm going to just take the straight away. We still need the influence. That sounded haven't really had enough unhappy people to be too concerned with some of these options, but we're gonna go with the idea of unlocking some technology chains that we may have stuff we want. We have finished another archaeological dig on Rochelle. We have reached the inner sanctum. Until now, we believed the station was abandoned. We were mistaken. In the innermost part of this station, Beshna Fulkin discovered a sealed-off section shielded from the outside. Inside, he has discovered a living alien that also shares its appearance with the portraits in the station. Judging by the lack of disfiguring genetic effects, he is likely the original template for the clones whose corpses litter the station, and he wishes to speak with us. On screen. Vogo the Great. Someone has come to free me from my confinement. Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Vogo the Great, also known as the Magnificent, the Wise, the Anointed, the Reviled, the Shunned, the Betrayed, and the Exiled. I was once the ruler of the great and bountiful Volkur nation. Do you recognize the name? No, thought so, serves them right. Now that I am finally free, please allow me to offer you my services. I am the most capable administrator you'll ever come to know. We can take them aboard as a governor. We can turn them away for 250 influence. What's your story? Oh, this is a thrilling tale full of intrigue, treachery, and betrayal. I wrote a book about it a few decades ago, but I think accidentally processed it through one of the food machines. Don't worry, I'll write another one. For now, I'll give you an abridged version. The Volkur nation I hail from was once a powerful empire on the galactic stage, and I was its leader. I wasn't the only one, but I was gifted with talents others were not. I could see things hidden from most. People would look up to me and always consulted me on important matters, recognizing my endless wisdom. Times were good for a while, but being blessed with the foresight and power can be a terrible curse. While other Volkurns lived in their lives in happy ignorance, I anticipated a terrible calamity. I saw the writing on the wall, and it was mostly obscene doodles. I came before the great Senate, saying they had a choice. Give me absolute power or perish. They said that I have a choice, exile or death. They made their choice, I made mine. From the looks of it, I was right and they were wrong. What happened on this station? This was my private station, my safe haven. After arriving in my exile, I was fresh out of friends, allies, and companions. I had no choice but to make my own. Who else would qualify for the position if not someone who'd share my boundless intelligence? So I procured a few cloning machines and started the work. The process was more flawed than I anticipated, however, as my clones were not blessed with the same level of patience and compassion as I. Many turned against me. As I sought refuge in my innermost sanctum, they turned on one another, and each tried to clone themselves into an army. Soon the first generations of clones was dead, but each left behind their own clones. Generation after generation, they grew more numerous and less sane until life support could no longer be put up with them. I was protected by my own personal equipment while they suffocated. I don't think we need him. We're going to take the influence. So that should free up the science ship in Rochelle. Let's see. This archaeological site, both of these should be done unless there's a third. There's a third. Goodness gracious. All right. So we're going to take Beshna Fulken and send them over and excavate in Grunar, the last site. Hidden Worlds. A crew clearing the quicksand on Wadriax Prime has made a breathtaking discovery. Hidden deep within a basin in a colossal alien space station. Architecturally stunning and built with technology far superior to our own, it is a true work of art. The station appears to have crashed on the surface, surviving the impact thanks to its unusual shielding capacities, which our scientists are now eager to examine. Regrettably, an archaeological excavation would prevent us from working the land until its completion. We'll add an archaeological site blocker. What does that do? We can't ever clear it.
Star system charted.
I'm not clear on what the benefits of that little one was. We can activate one or more of our relics. We don't really need to. We finished first contact with the pirates. We finished an archaeological site, discovered a third. We have finished surveying Selnock. We have a level 9 and a level 8 anomaly. We'll go ahead and research the anomaly in that system. Vrinn's main mining company reports finding a major new vein of high quality ore. We get a 20% bump for 10 years. Nice. Take a look at our civics points. We have enough influence. We haven't had enough influence in quite a while. So we're going to go with a technocracy. And we still have the influence to build in another system. Going to take Orgleone to get access to the 20 society research available there. Us to now upgrade to a planetary capital. It's interesting with the tiny outliner dynamic UI mod. Some of these do not show up when an upgrade is available. I think it's related potentially to the length of the name, but I'm not certain. Things moving.
Technology secured.
Our first expeditionary fleet is moving. I'm going to start some of the other technology chains on the more minor ones. We'll take a look at our ship designer and see if there is some value to potentially building torpedo boats. Let's take a look at our missile cruisers. They're still outfitting all quantum missiles. Maybe there is a destroyer build. Might be interesting. I'm not seeing much that looks like the torpedoes bring an improvement to. I kind of want to build some like torpedo bomber corvettes. I have another free robot pop. I think we're going to send them to Lochase just to help buff the population and get things underway more quickly there. They're going to employ it as a colonist. So that, going back to Wandriax, that archaeological site feature, we can never clear it. It reduces our districts by 1. We get nothing from it. The best case scenario seems like it should trigger another event in the chain. That would be something to do next. Alright, so here on the Conviab system, the complex appears to be devoted solely to the computation of a single mathematical equation. The finest Ultravin minds have gone over the problem as it appears in the computer's remaining memory and have responded unanimously that the system was trying to prove that the universe was a simulation. Portions of the complex are extensively damaged. This includes long-term data storage blocks, where any answer to this question would likely have been held. Every indication is that the critical systems on the asteroid were purposely sabotaged. Perhaps someone was not pleased with the machine had found. Despite this, much of its computational power remains intact. Our work to interface with the alien device may allow us to use it as a research tool. And a nice batch of physics research. Keep forward. So we're moving our mothership out to Bazkarat. We have a small flotilla of cruisers in Wiu, and we are awaiting our main fleet, who are currently in Vrinn Prime. There's a signage ship in Uniged who needs a new recruit. It's interesting. We'll go with the youngest. Add that on, and I believe that the intention there, I don't think, does Lochase have? Lochase doesn't have. Rim does. Seems like a long way to go. Gotcha. So we're going to take them over to Rim Prime and assist research there. Fourth and our second, ready for more upgrades. Our third is also, our sixth is a ride back in Wiu. We're going to go ahead and upgrade when we can. So the Hulk orbiting Selnock 4 is all that remains of the Zektar Zavonia, a massive sublight generation ship belonging to a deeply religious alien race called the Marduk Bowl. Though the ship has been ruthlessly purged of all life, the Marduk's ill-fated journey has been detailed in the captain's logs. After being hunted to near extinction by nightmarish beings referred to as vessels, they fled their homeworld in search of a distant paradise planet, the mythological promised lands of Paradaya. That would reveal itself only to the chosen ones. Judging by the state of their ship, however, their attackers caught up with them. Shall we extract the ship's navigational drive and decrypt its destination? Yes, we shall. We'll start that research project. A tundra world is possibly colonizable. Has a subglacial ocean, which is a food bump, and a strong magnetic field, which is energy and physics research bumps. This gives us a few more generator districts, and it has a cracking surface, which could be a concern.
Secured.
We now have jump drives. So does that? We have all of the ships for reference set to auto upgrade. It's interesting that it hasn't automatically upgraded to jump drives across the board. Just let a little time pass. Jump back in. Look at the same. We are. Can't change. It's because all the upgrades underway. Gotcha.
Vessels upgraded.
Let those go. I'm going to do a little feature cleanup on some of our colonies in the frontier.
Technology secured.
What about natural sanctuaries? No, they just messed with my blocker clearing. Let's jump on swarmer missiles and see how they factor in.
Special project complete.
Cracking the encoding algorithms on the Vectar Zavonia's navigational drive was no small feat. But thanks to the head researcher Beshna Tukor, who seems to have developed an unusual obsession with finding the Marduk Vol's utopian world, we have finally succeeded. More worryingly, the discovery is somehow leaked to the public, who now share Beshna Tukur's fixation with settling on a paradise planet. I don't think we need to go crazy. We're doing just fine.
Vessels upgraded.
So now we look at the ship designer. After everything was finished, can we upgrade to jump drives? The third expeditionary fleet is still upgrading. Gotcha. Okay, we'll wait them out. The very geological structure of Baldur 3B is indeed in flux, driven by what science officer Tashna Satur assures us is a tectonic process, as fascinating as it is esoteric. What is of more interest to the Vrinn Imperium is what we may be able to strategically halt the planet's ceaseless, chaotic self-transformation. In short, a near-instant terraforming of the planet into something slightly, if not entirely, more habitable is theoretically possible. Tashna Satur estimates that an additional 200 energy credits will be needed to power a thorough mapping of planet activity and determine the validity of what the science officer has termed a surgical terraforming strike. Of course, we can always choose to terraform it using existing technologies at a later date. We can study its processes, which will give us a force science bump. Where are we? We're fairly far out. Or we can give ourselves a 50% chance. In Imperium, we have further extended our research by a fairly significant portion, bringing online both individual colonies and some research assistance, and everything is now pointing to good. Looks like the stream is trying to reconnect, but we had a bit of difficulty. Gonna have to do a little more research to figure out why. Otherwise, for now, we're going to stop the stream and call it a day, I think. Oh, now we're back. Yeah. I'm going to stop it because that's been kind of an annoying last couple of days. So, all said and good. It was enjoyable. Thanks for watching if you have.